What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're looking to get your music reviewed, you can hit up this email that's right here. But today I'm going to hit you up with my thoughts and opinions for this 13th studio album from Nas called King's Disease. Now, Nas doesn't need too much of an introduction. He's an MC out of New York who broke out onto the scene with his classic album Illmatic, and since then, like most artists who have been around for decades, he has certainly had his ups and downs. In recent years, he dropped that Kanye-produced album Nasir. That wasn't received very well. It just felt very rushed and unfocused, and even The Lost Tapes 2 wasn't as great as his best work, while still boasting some nice moments on it. So things haven't been too exceptional for Nas in recent years, but thankfully with this one, I think he really turned things around because it is really dope. Everything about this is better than Nasir and The Lost Tapes 2 in my opinion. Everything from the flows, to the subject matter, to the production from Hit Boy, who keeps things banging and delivers a lot of variety, because one minute you're getting a menacing backdrop on the track Blue Benz, where Nas is just rapping about being up in the New York club called The Tunnel with straps and also with razor blades. That was just a grimy nightclub where a lot of hip-hop action used to go down. I don't know if it's still active now, but I remember hearing about it back in the day. And then you're going to get a groovy, soulful joint with Car Number 85 featuring Charlie Wilson. This is a really dope track that boasts great storytelling, as Nas is rapping about calling up a cab to go around town doing his dirt. He talks about how people use some of these cars to do robberies, drug deals, all these different types of things, even just to smoke and ride. So to me, this song is a very nostalgic and vivid coming-of-age story that I would like to see a video for. I think you could pull this off really well, especially if you did some cool stuff with the camera being inside of the cab as it goes around town, picking people up and dropping people off. Free idea, feel free to use it. But to keep focused on Nas's rapping on this album, I really appreciate how the subject matter goes into much more depth and detail than what he was doing on Nasir. As I said, that project just felt rushed. I think it was put together in a matter of weeks or something like that, where this one you can see that there was way more attention to detail and much more care put into it. So one of the songs I really like on here is the lead single Ultra Black. This sort of lets you know what you're in for throughout this album, a lot of those black excellence bars. I love this triumphant piano production, man. Hit Boy did his thing on a lot of these beats, but this one in particular has an inspirational feel to it, as Nas is spitting some bars about black people just sticking through everything, having that perseverance, while also showing love to all the different shades of blackness, whether you light, you're dark, you're mocha, whatever the case may be. He even throws a bit of shade, speaking of shade, at Doja Cat when he spits unapologetically black, the opposite of Doja Cat, which of course is a reference to when she was showing her feet in racial chat rooms, as Noriega said. That was one of the classic tweets of the year in my opinion, so I had to throw that in there. But that single to me, easily one of the standouts, and so is that opening track, King's Disease. Again, you're getting great production here. It's very silky and soulful, and Nas's flow is at his best. I'm just so glad he got things back on track with this album, man, because going out with Nasir, that would have been bad going out that way. Lost Tapes 2 did have some moments, but ultimately that was old tracks from the vault. This shit right here, though, is really putting Nas back in the place he deserves to be when we talk about one of the GOATs. Not that he could ever be taken out of that, because we already know his discography has a lot of classics in there, including Illmatic, but in current times, it's nice to see him dropping another high-quality project. On King's Disease, you're going to get more black excellence bars, as he talks a little bit about how algebra started in Africa, and he also speaks on the current climate of hip-hop, where you have artists trolling for clout and attention, rather than focusing on their actual craft. Thought that was really cool to hear from Nas, because he is an OG, and in these times, it is nice to hear these lessons from someone like that, who's been there, has done that, and has a lot to say. So you're going to get more of these OG-isms on the song 10 Points. This one sticks out while he speaks on the importance of creating jobs for your community, just doing more than spending your money frivolously. And he also addresses the importance of maintaining your mental health when he raps. Stop hanging on to childhood trauma. It defeats us. Challenge is holding ourselves back. I hope you felt that. This is really some of 2020's best grown man rap, and as someone who's a husband and father, slowly on his way up to 40, I can appreciate that. This is the type of stuff that I like to keep in rotation, so I gotta thank Nas for giving us these bars. He does keep the knowledge flowing even further on the song The Definition. Here he's speaking on the dumbass president, the failing of the judicial system, and even climate change, but I do wish that he had a bit more detail on this song, because it's very short, it's one verse, and he doesn't take the time to really break all these ideas down. Still a dope track, but that was one of my minor gripes with it, because I liked it so much that I wanted more from it. You know, I think that's a fair critique to have, but even still, this isn't a song that I'm gonna skip. But in regards to depth and detail, The Cure does come through with that, and also another great production from Hit Boy. I love how this one builds up very slowly, then the drums come in and it picks up the pace. Just once again, a great production here. And he raps about how it is for older artists. You know, you have people who are always saying they want your old stuff, they want you to not mess around with these trends and these mainstream sounds, which I will speak on in a moment. But he spits, that's generational curses. They said they want the old Nas back, play the Clue tapes for old verses. I'm certainly guilty of once in a while saying, man, I want this artist to come back with this sound that we love them for. I think a lot of people do that, but I'm also aware enough to understand where the artists themselves are coming from. Maybe they don't want to do the same thing all the time. They want to reach a different audience. They want to work with younger artists. I certainly respect that. And I thought it was cool for Nas to talk a bit about that, because I think a lot of rappers who have been in the game for so long understand where he's coming from and feel the same way. But now we are going to talk about that topic that I just brought up when it comes to working with newer artists, following trends, and doing more mainstream sounds. Those moments on this album are actually some of the weakest in my opinion. You got 27 Summers. This one has a beat that's just kind of bland and forgettable in my opinion. Same with the bars where Nas is mostly on his boastful shit. But I did appreciate the concept of this song because it's all about how Nas has been at it for 27 summers. It just shows you his longevity in the game and how he's still at it. But this wasn't really a great song to me. Kind of felt fillerish, but it is only under 2 minutes, so it's not a track that really ruins the whole album or anything like that. Just felt like it could have been cut and I wouldn't miss it. I actually feel the same way about Replace Me. This has your standard radio-ready production, a warbly overproduced hook from Don Toliver, and one of the worst Big Sean verses you will ever hear. This to me does not sound like a Nas song. It just sounds like a song the other two made and then they put Nas on, and that's something that does reoccur a couple of times on this album. I felt that way about Till the War Is Won because in spite of the dope concept that shows love to black mothers and the black family, I didn't really feel much chemistry between Nas and Lil Durk on this track. I did like the concept once again, but the production isn't overly memorable. These two don't really sound great with each other. It just kind of sounds like these verses were pasted on here. I have seen a lot of people say they love that track though, so I might be in the minority, but to me personally, I didn't feel the chemistry there. And it's actually the same with the bonus track Spicy, where you have Nas rapping along with Fivio Foreign and ASAP Ferg. Nas is actually on here spitting some of those bars about Paddocks and Demon Time, like he's trying to show he can still hang with the youngins. This is just a bonus track, it's not a big deal, but it's certainly not a track that I would come back to. Thankfully though, some of the other features go over much better. You got Anderson .Paak on All Bad. This organic and natural production works great with Nas's flow in my opinion, much better than some of those beats that I just spoke on. And this is just a track where they're both going in about a relationship that's falling apart. Everything has gone all bad. So concept isn't anything too interesting, it's not the most engaging content, but it sounds damn good and it is a track that I would put as one of my favorites. But of course the most exciting feature on this album has got to be The Firm. Everyone is talking about that and they have reunited on the song Full Circle. We get a pretty dope hazy backdrop here for everybody to rap over, and while Cormega and Foxy do their thing, especially Foxy, who it was nice to hear from because we haven't heard too much from her over the years, I gotta say that AZ is the showstopper here because his flow is just crystal clear. This guy has been spitting his ass off ever since he came into the game. I think AZ deserves the utmost respect, and he reminds us here as he's rapping about what it was like for him to grow over the years, you know, going from this young brother who was out there messing around doing dumb shit, and then he's gotten older and learned his lesson. So there is some good content in there, but the flows, man, he's just one of those natural, effortless rappers. Sounds like he could do this shit in his sleep. Really love that verse. And we also got to shout out that short outro from Dr. Dre. Of course, Dr. Dre was one of the producers behind that Firm album that dropped back in 1997. He's just on here showing some love, and he does shout out a couple of songs from that album, Firm Biz and Affirmative Action. So this was a cool track. I like how it's called Full Circle too, because it's showing you how all these artists have gotten back together, because there was all kinds of drama between them back in the day, man. You can read it up on Wikipedia. I'm not going to get into it, but there were some diss songs thrown here and there. Lots of stuff going on within all of these people. So it is what it is, and I'm going to go with a 7.5 out of 10 here, man. I think this is a big improvement over Nasir, but it does have a little bit of a lull in the middle of the album that kept it from getting an 8. I was very close to doing that, but there are 3 or 4 tracks here that I really wasn't in love with, while the good songs are damn good. So this might sneak on my year-end list. We'll see what's going to happen. It probably will, since things are so slow right now. But hey, man, check this shit out. Do not be deterred if you didn't like Nasir or the Lost Tapes too, because I think this is a pretty nice return to form. It does have those more generic mainstream moments, which I can respect. He wants to work with these younger artists. I'm sure those songs will maybe get streams with the younger crowd and people who are into those songs. I can't hate on him too much for doing that. I just prefer a lot of the other songs better. So it is what it is. That's how I feel about this new one from Nas, King's Disease. Let me know down in the comments section how you feel. And of course, make sure you do that good YouTube and social media stuff where you show me love and you show me lots of it. Thank you for watching, everybody. I will see you next time.